It's easy to say, oh, yeah, we've got a freedom farm, but on reflection, how far away were you from that 7 years ago?
At the opposite end of the scale. Very even nervous, probably going to the local footy for a day, and probably guilt of leaving the farm. Whenever I had time off, I was surrounded with guilt. I thought I should be there working. Nothing's happening without me there. To actually have a break was very overwhelming for me.
Welcome to the Profitable Farmer podcast, where we share stories and tips to help you run a better farming business and create your very own freedom farm. If you're looking to work smarter and not harder in your farm business, welcome. You're in the right place. Over the last few weeks and months, we've had quite a few inquiries from people asking us for details about what the Platinum Mastermind program is about at Farm Owners Academy. So we're doing something we've never done before. In about 2 weeks' time, we're having a Platinum Mastermind preview or a Q&A for people considering the Platinum Mastermind program. We're really excited about this. And so I encourage you to join Greg, Tracy, myself, and our team on Thursday, the 12th of September at 6:30 New South Wales time. If you are interested in any way about Platinum Mastermind, if you have questions, and if you'd like to hear more about what that program's about. In this interview, I'm delighted to introduce you to David and Rhianne Low, who are wonderful members of the Platinum Mastermind program and our alumni, and have been tracking with us for over 7 years, and are just great examples of what's possible for leaning in and making a commitment to being part of our community and to doing what it takes to benchmark, strategically plan, and then get held accountable to high achievement. Enjoy this interview, and we hope to see you all on Thursday the 12th at 6:30 for a PM program preview. G'day everyone, welcome to Profitable Farmer. I cannot tell you how long I've been looking forward to this next conversation. There are some wonderful people and some incredible personalities in our community at FOA, and far out there are none brighter, none more positive, and none more incredible than David and Rhianne Low. Absolute superstars within our community, but just such valued members of our alumni. They signed up to kick off with us in Platinum Mastermind before my time at FOA back in July 2017. So what's that? Just over 7 years ago. And, they've just achieved so much on so many levels. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Diesel and Rhianne to you, and just to ask them to reflect on where they were, where they are, and how, I guess, tracking in our community, being part of Farm Owners Academy, has impacted them. Occasionally, it's great to interview people from outside of the industry and from outside of Farm Owners Academy, but I absolutely love sharing some of these stories of farming families just doing incredible things and contributing just so significantly to our community and just cracking results. So, yeah, great to see you both, Diesel and Rhianne. Awesome to have some time with you. Thank you for your time and welcome to Profitable Farmer.
Certainly a pleasure, Hutch.
Yeah, thanks, Hutch.
Great to be a part of it. This is exciting.
It is exciting. I love how when you come to a deep dive conference, Diesel, that you just run to the front of the room and sit up front and you're the first person to ask a question and the last person to leave the bar. It's both of you, last person to leave the bar, but you are genuinely, just sincerely, such valued members of our Farm Owners Academy family, and thank you for your contribution over at least 7 years.
More than welcome. Yeah, for a lot of years we treated those deep dives as 3 yearly holidays, or I certainly did. I don't think Rhianne approved of that, but yeah, so when I got in the room, I was in holiday mode. So that was me at my finest, I think.
First question, what has it been like? Like we sit here today, what has it been like to be part of the FOA community? Rhianne, can I get you to kind of share your reflection looking back? What's it meant to you to be part of FOA?
Yeah, look, when we both first joined Farm Owners, I was full-time off farm and David was full-time in the business. So for both of us, we both entered differently. We both took different things home every time we attended a deep dive. But in saying that, we both definitely built really, really cherished relationships with people that were like-minded like us. I feel that the friendships that we've made over the years of being with farm owners, like these people will be a part of our lives forever.
Wonderful. Diesel, what about for you, mate? How do you reflect on what it's meant to you to be part of the FOA community?
Well, for me personally, it has been a massive journey from where we were in business pre-2017, joining FOA, a lot of lack of direction. And over the last 7 years, sort of worked through overwhelm in the early days of our journey. And now I think our farming business, our personal relationships are a lot stronger and all the better for it.
Awesome, mate. Thank you. Diesel and Rhianne farm 20 kilometres north of Port Lincoln in South Australia's Eyre Peninsula near a town called White Farm. Diesel, would you mind just giving us a snapshot of the farm, its size and what you run today?
Yeah, property's called Linbray. It's at White's Flat, as you said. And we farm at the moment currently 1,280 hectares, so relatively small holding in the big scheme of things. Yeah, we've come off the back of being mixed farmers, and over the last, I guess, 5 to 6 years throughout our farm owners' journey, we're pretty well predominantly livestock producers now, merino wool flock base, and then into a dual purpose operation over the last 18 months to 2 years.
So let's rip into this. What did life look like, Diesel, for you on farm 10 years ago? 2014, 2015, what was life like for you?
Pretty average, very hectic, a lack of control, a lack of vision. We were doing the same thing year in, year out. We had a pretty set cropping rotation. We had a set flock structure in our sheep flock. Year in, year out was a pretty basic run to the calendar, but also, having said that, probably a lack of direction, I'd say, and a lack of, I guess, knowledge. I'd hit a ceiling. I'd known what I'd been taught by my grandfather, my father, and the few snippets of things we'd learnt throughout the community, and it certainly wasn't heading us in the right destination, I guess you could say.
Rhianne, what about for you? You've known Diesel for longer than that, and you were on the farm and involved then, working off farm as well. But how do you reflect on what life looked like for you both 10 years ago?
Extremely busy. We were both heading in different directions. We didn't have much clarity around what our goals were, what our vision was. I would say our relationship wasn't fantastic, only purely because we weren't aligned. In saying that, with all the mindset work that we have had now, you can see, or everyone can see, how different we both are. So, it's amazing to reflect back on where we were and where we are now.
Diesel, how did you come to be on the farm? It's a family farm, I understand, and you've been part of it for longer than 10 years. How did you come to be on the farm, and how long have you been involved?
I was born and bred on the family farm, and for a pretty young age, all I wanted to be was a farmer or a truck driver. I can remember being, I think, 4 years old. Dad and Grandpa had bought a block of land, and we were re-fencing it. And I can vividly remember seeing the school bus, thinking I'll be on that next year. So I know I was out farming at the age of 4. I was lucky enough to get annual days off to go to neighbouring ram sales through primary school. Before and after school, I'd work on the farm. I'd get home and we were shearing. I'd ride my bike up the shearing shed, and a couple of the shearers would leave a bit of smoko for me. And I guess all my life I had a love of farming, and that's all I wanted to be.
Awesome, mate. Rhianne, what was your backstory prior to Linbray, and what's your career prior to now?
Well, right through as a kid at school through when I finished year 12, I did a traineeship in pharmacy. So I'd worked in pharmacy for about 14 years. So I'm originally from York in Western Australia. So I travelled the Nullarbor and moved to South Australia and continued working in pharmacy full time. In 2006, I took a jump and moved to the electrical wholesaling industry. So I went from working with a lot of females to a lot of males and just loved it, just loved the change. And then I became lucky enough to get selected to be branch manager for the store. So I had 5 staff working for me and represented Port Lincoln at all SANT functions. So that's pretty much my background there.
Perfect. Thank you. 10 years ago, what did the numbers look like? Like in terms of farm performance, which is something that you've analysed intently and you focus on really strongly now. What did the numbers look like 10 years ago, roughly, just as a guide?
Pretty ordinary. I guess medium to high debt levels, not much direction, very poor financial acumen, like a budget was almost done on a piece of paper and done with our bank manager at the time. She was kind enough to go through those numbers and type them in. So no control. It was just a guess and hope for the best, I think.
How close was your farm then to being at its optimum in terms of productivity and efficiency and profitability?
Production-wise, I thought it was at its optimum. So I think until you get outside your own little box and own little square and own little neighbourhood, you realise there's a lot better operators out there than you and a lot more techniques we can bring into a farming business or any business for that matter.
And mate, going back even further, I understand that you were burned out by fire in 2005. Like, what happened and how did that impact you and your family, and what impact did that have on, your trajectory as a business back then?
Yeah, so it was what was called the Wangri fires or the Black Tuesday fires on the Eyre Peninsula of South Australia. I was away firefighting at the fire, and when the fire came through our property and Mum and Dad had just left, we'd sort of put a bit of an action plan in, and Mum and Dad were pretty well running the business then with share farmers, etc. I'd been away working, truck driving and doing other jobs, and I was sort of back here to help out with harvest, and that sort of decimated our property, our livestock. We were running about 2,800 sheep then. I think we ended up with 117 left over after the fire came through. Burnt the family home, shearing shed, fences, and, 95% of our infrastructure at the time. So it was I guess I was a 24-year-old, had been away working. I was lucky enough Dad wouldn't let me come straight home onto the farm after school. I went and sort of got my own experiences for 5 or 6 years. And it was a pretty daunting task to enter my farming career after something like that happening.
How did you guys navigate the next 5 years? Like, how big and a requirement was the recovery, and how did you guys get by?
It was pretty good. I think Dad and I sort of set out a plan, more of an infrastructure plan of how we'd rebuild the property. We had some pretty old sheds and old infrastructure. We had quite a good sheep flock and a very well fenced property. And Dad was a bit of an older guy back then. Dad was 40 odd years older than me, but he still had a vision, which was great. He sort of handed over the running of the property to me, but we worked closer together, sharing, I guess, a small vision of how we thought the property would look. So building a new shearing shed, how we'd fence it, equipment we'd purchase. He loved it. It was good fun for him, building new sheds and buying machinery. He was in his element. And it was a great experience for us to work through that together we were more, I think, a team. I saw my father and I as a team. He was very open-minded and willing to accept new ideas. It was a very fortunate situation for me to be in.
Thanks, Diesel. What prompted you to apply to Farm Owners Academy and look at the Platinum Mastermind program? Rhianne?
I would say when we started reflecting back on what the business was, we could see in our first year of analysing benchmarking that, we had potential to make a lot more out of what we had. We were a little bit closed. David had always done what his dad and his grandpa had taught him. We after being addressed by Greg or getting our benchmark analysed, he basically suggested to us to introduce perhaps some different enterprises. And for David and I, that might have freaked us out a little bit. We didn't really, and we know for a fact that there's other FOA members that have been in the same boat as us now. We were scared. We didn't know where it was going to go, and it's just the unknown. And I think we just trusted introducing the new enterprises. We could see that it was going to benefit us financially.
Spot on, Rhianne. So when you did that first benchmark and you looked at the performance of each enterprise, Diesel, what was the result? Like, was it a clear standout enterprise when you looked at it, and was that what supported the change, or what was the change to the enterprise mix that you've achieved?
Just pre-FOA or during the early days, we had done a bit of data on our cropping profitability, and it hadn't been profitable over a lot of years, and some of it was due to poor grain prices, etc., and some poor yields. We're in some pretty safe country here, and we just became more of a scale thing. We had a small cropping program and a small sheep flock, so we had to scale something up in a lot of unarable country. So we made the decision to purely scale up our sheep flock and really hone in on, KPIs. That was our biggest takeaway. I didn't even know what a KPI was till I just nodded my head when someone said that. I didn't know what they were before joining FOA. I didn't think farmers ever used them. So it gave us the opportunity to focus in on a couple of things that could give us our quickest growth. Yeah, sort of put us on the path to growth.
Yeah, and KPIs for our listeners are key performance indicators. They're the key measures that we've got to track and analyse in order to move our business forward. And, in Farm Owners Academy, there are 17 key benchmarks or key KPIs, key performance indicators, that we monitor to make sure that we're moving our businesses in the right direction and getting our business models right for where we are. How important is it to pick a enterprise or enterprise mix that you're deeply passionate about, guys? Because I kind of get the sense that cropping was something you did, but sheep was where the passion was.
Yeah, just always been a lover of sheep. Ever since I was a kid working in sheep yards, Grandpa would send me in to pick the best one out of a mob of ewes, so I'd have to work through that, and Lord help us if we got it wrong. So you sort of trained yourself pretty quickly, and always like working sheep for some reason. And even now it's good to, breed sheep. Pretty hard to breed a variety of wheat unless you're a scientist. So that's a bit of a personal thing. But to be involved in an industry you're passionate about is exciting. I think years ago we spoke on a chat with Tracy, and a lot of people will attest to this, that when you truly love what you're doing, you're not actually working. So I guess I'm just living as a farmer, not working as a farmer.
Greg speaks to this, and I talk about it a lot these days, that our benchmarking, when we look at it, is sort of confirming that when we've got 2 or 3 or 4 enterprises on farm, those enterprises can compete for resources, and it can mean that we don't actually achieve scale in any one enterprise. And I think the conventional wisdom of the yesteryear was that you needed multiple enterprises so that you had diversification, and that was a good risk management play. But all the benchmarks that we're analysing suggest that the most profitable businesses and the ones with the best return on assets managed are the ones that do focus on 1, maybe 2 enterprises and achieve scale. What impact has making that decision to move away from 2 or 3 enterprises and just do 1 really well, how's that helped you move the needle and really drive profit from the farm that you run?
I guess true. It's easy to systemise a simple business, especially a livestock business. Ours is pretty well run by the calendar, as in shearing dates, lambing dates, and everything like that. And as Greg said, a simple business is so easy to scale up. So you said we were fighting for labour units across several enterprises. There was a lot of overlaps where we used to lamb when we'd be seeding, and then we'd have another lambing when it should have been harvest, and nothing was sort of getting done properly. So it was a constant battle. It was, always everything was done in a rush. So things are done in a bit more calmer fashion, a bit more calculated fashion now, and with some proper foresight and planning.
So we're talking about benchmarking, and you've benchmarked over the 7 years. And, the trends that you're achieving now towards greater profit and a more reliable and dependable business model, the results are pretty spectacular. How do you reflect on the importance of benchmarking and the impact that that's had on giving you some confidence around the direction that you're going in?
I think it's so important to know your numbers, just to be able to get to the scale of, to scale our farm and to get to where we wanted to be, we needed to know our numbers. Not only has it helped leverage us in business growth, but it's also leveraged us with banking appointments and financial discussions. And, so now for us, it's easy. We have the data control. The record keeping is easy. Benchmarking is no longer hard. And having that data to back up our business, it's just helped us expand to where we need to be today.
It's a great set of supporting documents to support our yearly tax books, I guess, and our budgets and forecasts. When budgeting and forecasting, we can use those KPIs that we've got through our benchmark. So it's, a huge supporting document to drive business opportunity.
It's a really important point that you make. I think once we benchmark our historic performance, then that can really inform the forecasts that we set down. And forecasts just plucked out of the air without a benchmark can be pretty meaningless, really. But once you've got real optics around your historic performance and that you then use those metrics to project forward, for me, that's when a forecast can really be quite a powerful tool to help you make decisions about improvement into the future. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I still feel like if we hadn't started benchmarking, we would still be cropping and we'd still probably be making a loss on the cropping program. So to be honest, if we hadn't started benchmarking, we wouldn't have changed our enterprises and it wouldn't have got us where we are now.
And just sort of coming back to what you said, Diesel, the simplicity of focusing on one enterprise and doing it with scale, and the fact now that you don't have those competing priorities of seeding and lambing and all those things, and then the efficiencies that can come with it. How much simpler is the farm to run today than it was 10 years ago?
Oh, so easy. It's probably, especially for me, it's probably gone from an 80-hour-a-week job or chore or occupation to, working 5.5 days a week or even down to 5 days during the casual time. Sure, there's weeks when we have to work weekends at busy periods, but it's certainly opened the gate to a fair bit of freedom and a lot better lifestyle.
Yeah, well done. So I'm sitting here looking at your benchmarks on the screen, and your equity percentage is going in the right direction. Your return on assets managed, your return on equity, your return on assets owned, your net profit ratio, your business profit ratio, all trending in the positive direction. Your machinery ownership ratios reducing, which is what you want. Your debt to asset ratios reducing, which is sort of what you want as you grow. Your finance cover ratios trending in the right direction. Like, how much confidence does that give you looking at the trends in the numbers and knowing that things are moving in the right direction? You're in quite a marginal rainfall area, and all of these things are moving in the right direction at a time where others in marginal areas are feeling huge amounts of stress and pressure. Like, how much confidence does being able to look at these trends and see these figures on paper?
Oh, it gives us oodles of confidence, and that's our driver. I think we're not as marginal as some on the Eyre Peninsula. There's not a marginal country, and we're probably in the very lucky part of it. So we're pretty bankable. 465 mil rainfall, though. Yeah, it'll be pretty exciting spring if we get there this year, but we are in a pretty safe, predictable area. It's not necessarily high rainfall. Just knowing those numbers and those trends and KPIs, it does encourage us to set, bigger goals, probably think outside the square a little bit, push our limits. What else, Rhianne?
I think being open to opportunities to come. We don't say no to anything just because we're too afraid. Like, now we have the data that we can stack it, make it stack up and use it as leverage to expand.
Thank you. And I mean, you've had a tougher year in 2023, and the benchmark figures kind of suggest that. if you didn't have the numbers in front of you and you had a tough year like that, let's say 10 years ago, how would you be feeling compared to knowing that it's just a blip in what is a really good and sound business model?
I reckon we'd be pretty disheartened, whereas we're quite confident. We made choices last year on the back of poor livestock prices to hold animals. We made them through doing forward estimates, forecasts, and using our numbers. So we made decisions, backed ourselves, backed our confidence with data, and communicated that well with our financiers, etc. And yes, we had a pretty poor year on, as most livestock producers or sheep producers would have had last year. But I think we made some very smart decisions that will propel us, out of those non-profit years into some pretty good profits coming in the years coming.
Thank you for that. I appreciate your comments. So at the outset, you sort of talked about how back then you didn't have a plan. And at one of our recent deep dives, we shared your plan with sort of 450 members, and they were all blown away just by the depth and the rigor of the strategic plan that you've got in place, which is based on our Clarity Action Plan method. How important and how impactful has it been for you both to make time and space to set down a really compelling 2-page strategic plan for the business?
For us, that's our roadmap. That's our direction. That's the long and the short of it. Rhianne, you add to that?
Well, I think we really we get such a kick out of setting such big goals. We get a little bit excited and we think, that's a little bit out of reach, and then we just go, no, it's not. Like we can do this. It's that motivator to get you out of bed in the morning. We just want to be, extremely successful in something that we're really passionate about, and we really, after revisiting our Clarity Action Planner and revisiting our 10-year goals, it was really good for us to, make ourselves aware of where we wanted to be in the next, 10 years and, how we would love to be, mentoring other farmers and helping them, be in the position that we are today.
So we talk about the importance of having a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal that is really a stretch goal for your lifetime. And then what we do is ask our members to break that back to where do we need to be 10 years from now to be in pursuit of the attainment of that BHAG. Diesel, I've heard you say that you set down what you thought was a pretty big 10-year goal 7 years ago at the outset, and you've already achieved it and you've had to reset and set down a bigger 10-year goal. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's amazing how it worked out. Often our caps are set and forget type of thing. So we'll sit down and work really hard on our goals and visions, put it on paper or put it on the computer, print it out. And then often we said to one, we did one many years ago, and our 10-year goals, I think we achieved them in about 4 years. So they were a lot about size of the property, the size of the sheep flock, how things had looked. So we were just blown away. That's what really made us, I guess, shoot to the stars next time. And we still believe that, our 10-year goals are super achievable. I think our next 10-year goals due in 2033. I'd be surprised if that doesn't happen in the next 4 years as well.
Would you mind sharing your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal?
Other than owning a 1969 HT Monaro, well, that's come out of the BHAG into the 10-year goal. To be freedom farmers, I think we already are freedom farmers, our version of freedom farmers. So just get our farm running and enable us to mentor and visit up to 500 farmers throughout Australia. We get a big kick of seeing what some of the people in the FOA community have done, the support they offer, and that's something we'd really like to place ourselves in a position to offer that help and support as well.
What's your definition of a freedom farm for you? Because it's different for everyone. And I guess we exist to help people achieve their definition of a freedom farm. What does it mean to you both to have and pursue a freedom farm?
It was funny, we only had this question brought to us a week ago, and we had always set a goal to be freedom farmers, and then we suddenly thought about what is it to be a freedom farmer, and it was to be able to do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it. And we actually both looked at each other and said, well, we do that now. So, we classify ourselves as freedom farmers now. Diesel can reflect on what deep dives used to be for us. We used to get there really late the night before the deep dive started. We would, be flying out again as soon as day 2 had finished. Now we can go days before, we can stay days later. Like, it all just looks so different to us now. And it's because we've set ourselves up to be in this position. So to have the right staff, to have the right structure, systems in place here, we know that we can do what we want to do when we want to do it.
How was your holiday in Bali recently with your 3 girls?
That was amazing. David said he'd never go. He said, I'll never go to Bali. And like he said earlier, like, holidays for him were deep dives. So, we would attend holidays 3 times a year. So to get him off farm in another country was pretty exciting. Now I could near guarantee I think we'll be going back again next year. So it was amazing. Bali was just great for us to go to a resort with the girls, and, they had never been, on a holiday like that before. So to be able to be in the position to leave the farm and know that everything was running smoothly and we could trust our staff was just awesome.
Diesel, what does a freedom farm mean to you?
Pretty much as Rhianne said, we're lucky. We've built our business up. We've got awesome staff. We've awesome people around us, awesome contractors, suppliers and mentors. And it enables us to just pack up our bags and go and have a break when we need, or if it's a deep dive in Queensland, be prepared, be there, be open-minded. I'm lucky enough when I get to something like that, I turn my phone off so I could shut down and really focus. Yeah, and it's nice to actually go on a holiday and relax. I think I'd left the farm too many times before FOA. The odd trip to Sydney with mates to the races was about it, and I couldn't really even wind down for that. So at least when we get down to the airport and step on the plane, we know the farm's in great care with the staff and I guess our direction and that prior to leaving.
It's easier to say, oh yeah, we've got a freedom farm, but on reflection, how far away were you from that 7 years ago?
At the opposite end of the scale, very even nervous, probably going to the local footy for a day, and probably guilt of leaving the farm. Whenever I had time off, I was surrounded with guilt. I thought I should be there working. Nothing's happening without me there. To actually have a break was very overwhelming for me.
Thank you, mate. So 2 other parts of the strategic plan that you have. One is to set down your core standards or your core values as a business so that you've got some guideposts or some pillars around which you make key decisions. And then having a core focus, which is all about, what game will you play, what metrics will you focus on, and what is your greatest area of passion that you can be best in the world at. Would you mind speaking to your core values and your core focus, and then even how those 2 constructs and getting clarity around those things have helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we openly communicate our company standards with our staff as well. We're both extremely passionate about what we do. Therefore, our passion to succeed is number 1 for us. We always wanted to incorporate positive relationships equals positive work life. The happier we are, the happier our work life is working together. So now that, we are aligned and we have our passion, for the same industry, it really works. Being open-minded, letting opportunities come. It's amazing how you can't control the opportunities, and we had spent so much time trying to work out where our money was going to come from. We weren't going to be able to buy land. It's all very, close-knit around here. And I think just opening up to whatever comes to us is right for us, and the belief around that's been like a really, really big game changer for us. Of course, accountability. So that comes down to our clarity action plan, us being accountable for our weekly meetings, quarterly, yearly planning. We are lucky it is us 2. And we, like I said, share the same vision. So I think it's just really important that we're on the same page. And of course, all these help with our family and health. Our core focus really has come down to wool and meat production. We want to grow our business with wool sales, livestock sales, and land and housing investments. So that's where our main focus is. Do you want to speak more to that?
No, we're just big believers in fortune favours the brave. That's sort of our little catch cry, I think. We've done some work on money mindset with Hayley Grosser and a lot of personal development with Tracy Seacombe. And that's sort of what I think our business models come down to. We've had a crack over the years. We've made some mistakes and we're well aware of them, but I think we've had a lot of wins. We're big win celebrators. So little wins, that is what drives us, I guess, to succeed.
What impact do you think celebrating wins has on inspiring future wins?
I think it creates flow, I reckon. We'll celebrate wins throughout the day, throughout the week, and little wins, big wins, and it just creates, like I said, I think flow.
And celebrating other people's wins. Like it definitely, wins attract wins. Like they'll just continuously flow because we're open to them all coming to us.
It's a perfect segue into the amount of work you've both done on mindset over the time. How do you reflect on just the value of the mindset training that you mentioned Hayley and Tracy and that Robbo and that the FOA community sort of focus on, and how's that supported you both in the business?
Yeah, right back to the early days with Robbo and then yourself, Hutch. I guess how I felt when I joined FOA was, I suppose, lost, no direction. I had no confidence in backing decisions we were making. And then just through the work on mindset, celebrating those wins and more of a positive outlook and positive attitude, I think was a real game changer for us. Yeah, we certainly wouldn't be in the position we're in without the work we've done on ourselves, let alone the work we've done on our business.
Thank you, mate. So, Rhianne, how impactful for you has the mindset piece been, and how has it sort of supported you and helped you change and grow?
Yeah, so I think we learned how to really be positive. We took on board a lot what we learned from Tracy right at the early days, and a lot of things are out of your control. No matter what happens on a farm, no matter whether it's weather or livestock prices, beef cattle, whatever it is, you day to day, it still runs the way that it does. Like you just have no control. And I just feel that if you can keep that positive mindset, you can go anywhere.
How do you stay positive when the chips are down? I can imagine there's quite a few farmers out there hearing this, perhaps going, how do you do that? I'd see you guys when you arrive at a deep dive and, just your positivity is infectious, to say the least. How do you stay positive when the chips are down?
We practice a lot of gratitude. We definitely journal. I'm a big, advocate for being grateful for everything that you do have. I still think being grateful brings more good to you. And so, we are so lucky where we are in Australia and what we have. And I think people need to remember that, in other countries, they're nowhere near, as lucky as us. So, yeah, definitely practicing gratitude.
I think tough times create opportunities. So when the chips are down, we probably get more excited about what's out there. It gives us a chance to look at our business, where we're going well and where we're not going well, where we can perhaps learn new skills, upskill. And everything for us is an opportunity.
I love it. What's one or two other, it's one thing to say I worked on my mindset, but are there anything else that you specifically do, which is your mindset practice? So you've mentioned gratitude, you've mentioned journaling, Rhianne, just then, goal setting and having that intent focus on where you'll play, what your values are and what your goals are. Is there anything else that you guys do daily, weekly, monthly that's a bit of a routine or a ritual to look after and support that positive mindset?
I guess our Sunday afternoons are usually a pretty interesting ritual. It's usually kids in the ute and a drive around, grateful for where we farm, grateful for what we've done throughout the week. And then that's where our planning for the next week begins, as Sunday afternoon, a couple of beers, driving around the farm, checking on things, and that sets up our week, our weekly planning. We have a weekly meeting every Monday with the staff. It's a pretty simple, pretty set agenda, and that just gives us direction for the week. Certainly nothing overwhelming or nothing special. It's just a pretty simple agenda to make our week flow really well with the guys. It's great.
Thanks, mate. Rhianne, is there anything else you do to look after and nurture a winning mindset?
I would have to say our mindset has shifted since doing Hayley Gross's course, The Abundant Farmer. That's definitely been a winner for us. Small little things that we've done, they're quite funny, filling our wallet with a bunch of $100 notes, constantly feeling abundant. Yep, little things. That's definitely been really good for us.
There's a big shift between, I think if we leave it unchecked, we can arrive into a scarcity mindset, can't we? Especially in agriculture where things do feel like they're outside our control. But that shift in mindset from scarcity to one of abundance, certainly around money, amongst other things, can be game-changing. And I know Hayley's course, The Abundant Farmer, is just so strong on that, isn't it?
Absolutely, and also the early days of Tracy, I always played the blame game a lot. I guess what we call in FOA below the line. Anything that happened was someone else's fault or something else's fault. And as soon as we switched away from that, and I guess take ownership of our decisions, take ownership of our business model, and ownership of our attitudes, that was when things really propelled for us in business. Things became a lot clearer. Stuff ups, we own them. That's fine. Everyone makes mistakes because some people don't admit to them. So once we admitted to even mistakes, so it was mistakes and wins for us. It's a pretty cool attitude to carry through life and business, I think.
For me, when you do take that level of ownership and move to that intent above the line attitude, that even in an environment where you don't have control over every aspect of your outcome, you can feel like you are in control. Do you agree?
Oh, 100% agree. At the moment, wool prices are down. What can we do about them? We can diversify. We can go into a bit of a dual purpose flock or something like that. Instead of just, I guess, groveling in our porridge and sitting there whinging, we just think, well, how can we do what we're doing better? How can we sharpen our pencil up? What skills do we need to bring back into the business? So for us, I reckon it makes life pretty fun and easy. Business is a game. Greg Johnson will say that. So the better you play the game, the better the results.
Perfect. And you were lucky enough to have Tracy Seacombe as your first coach, and I know that she continues to have a wonderful friendship with you both. What impact has having a business coach had on the direction and the choices and the decisions you make and the level of alignment and focus you have now as a business?
Being accountable, straight up, was accountability. So we would say we were going to do something, and if you didn't do what you said you were going to do with Tracy, you were in a little bit of trouble. So we made sure we were accountable. We set goals and targets. Tracy helped us achieve those targets, and they became something to look forward to. It was a real, especially in the early days with Rhianne working off farm, it was the one time we sort of came together to really plan what we were going to be accountable for, and that could have been in Rhianne's business or our family farming business. What would you add to that?
And I feel Tracy really supported us through our growth phase because she's had a lot of business experience, and it didn't matter what business experience she had. She just knew the right steps to, or the right advice to give us on, where to go to find the information that we needed to grow. So it was really great having her business mind to help us.
I feel like you focused your enterprise mix and you focused on what you wanted to really nail as a business, and you focused in on those values and those goals that you set down, but you also made a decision, Rhianne, to stop working off farm and focus on the farm as your primary intent. How big a decision was that, and how big an impact has that been for you as a family to really focus in on making the main thing?
Massive. I feel it was a struggle because I lost my identity. I had a full-time job. I had a full-time career. I ran a very successful business. I had this great pay that we used to live off, and we're very socially lucky. But at the same time, we knew we wanted to start a family, and we had to go down the IVF path. So it was really good to have the support of Tracy through that time as well. But at the same time, I was nervous leaving a full-time job to be coming home on the farm. But admittingly, I went back after having Bridie. I went back for 12 months. And then after having Olivia, it was clear that David and I both wanted to be working together, and we knew that we had to be aligned to get the goals that we wanted to get to. So, yeah, it all worked out perfect.
Rhianne, I think so many women in agriculture have that challenge of, and maybe women's the wrong frame, but there are men that arrive back to, our wives' farms like I have, and there might be the same identity shift. But how did you navigate that? What's your new identity, and what's your role in the business, and how did you navigate that identity shift that you've made?
Well, I'll never tell anyone I'm a farmer's wife or, I'm the cook. Well, I don't do that very well. So I would definitely say I'm the chief financial officer of the business. So now we have a clear org chart which works for our business and obviously identifies exactly what my role is in the business. So I'm a part of it. So, not only do I have the freedom to be able to spend time with our children and navigate around sports and children's activities, but I also have a role within the business which makes me feel important. And, we make decisions together now. So it's not just David making the decisions on his own. So, it feels, you feel so much more cherished.
Thank you for saying that. And having Rhianne focus with you, Diesel, on the business and to sort of be able to team up on some of those key decisions and to plan together, strategize together, lead the team together. How big a change is that for you compared to when you were trying to run the show on your own while Rhianne was off farm?
Yeah, so I'd make decisions during the day while Rhianne was at work, or try and contact her, or when she'd be home late, we'd sit up till all hours working through things, and we certainly never had the clarity. So now discussing things on the run, we make decisions together. There's a lot less explaining to do when you both work in and on the business together. Budgeting's easy. Decision making is sort of second nature for us now. We're both aligned. We're both happy to put our hand up and use the power of the mastermind. And Rhianne certainly has her input into on-farm operations, as do I.
So efficient at leadership level for being aligned and having that focus together.
Absolutely. Yeah, super efficient. So, yeah, whereas before Rhianne coming back in and working in and on the business, anything I wanted to get over the line, I sort of had to do a pretty comprehensive business plan. And now we just work through things together, crunch our numbers, use the calculators available to us, and make real good decisions that we're both confident will be successful and the right decisions for us and for the business.
Awesome. So with the strategic plan, once you got your 10-year goal, we bust it down to 3-year goals, and then we break it down to 1-year goals, and then we break the 1-year goals down into what's going to happen quarter on quarter for the next 4 quarters to give ourselves the best chance of the 1-year goal, knowing that if we nail that, we're on track to, our longer term objectives. How helpful has that discipline been? I know you guys are really structured around your 2-day annual off-farm meeting and then your quarterly planning meetings, and that you really do lock in your quarterly plans and have that accountability still to deliver strongly on your quarterly priorities. How helpful has that discipline been for you?
I think it's really important you've got to know what you've got to focus on. We are big advocates for planning. We feel like we tick the boxes and we both get a sense of achievement. That's a big one for us. When it comes to setting the 3-year goals, we're still shooting for the stars, but when we break it down, we do know that, these things are achievable. Planning has just become a part of our life. Like if we didn't plan, we would have no direction and wouldn't know where we're going. So it's so important that we know what to focus on and when, and then you just don't have any distractions.
Awesome. Diesel, anything to add?
I think Rhianne sums it up really well. Like I said earlier, it's a roadmap for us. It gives us direction on where we're going. We're no longer shooting from the hip, where we've got real set targets to aim for and quite achievable targets, and even our big long-term goals. We're very confident we'll achieve them.
Awesome. The community. Let's just sort of loop back to that. You mentioned that you've made some amazing friendships over the years in FOA. You're just such valued members of our alumni. I'm going to go one step further and talk about the fact, Diesel, that you've been a mentor now to mastermind groups of new members going through their 3-year journey. And Rhianne, we're delighted to sort of announce, if you like, that you're starting with us as a business coach and an accountability coach with FOA.
Yeah.
How significant has having that community around you been? And to you both, how does it feel now to be sort of really contributing back to helping in the success of other farming families going through the program?
Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked to be brought into the A team. We had at the last deep dive, we were masterminding on a table with a group, and it was amazing the feedback that David and I were giving to the group. You could see how much of an impact that was having on them. And it brought me down to be a little bit emotional, which then led to my future conversations with Tracy to, I think I've had a bit of a shift on where I want to be and what I want to be doing. And yeah, it really opened my eyes to, I sort of had a really below the line mindset that I didn't know enough. But in saying that, I'm very capable of learning everything I need to know to help others. So I was absolutely stoked to be selected. And when David and I become mentors, we just got so much out of it. Just to be able to support the other farmers and help them in the direction that they're heading. It's just, it really, really makes that butterfly go in the stomach.
Yeah, I think the mentoring side of farm owners graduating and getting into alumni and now becoming mentors, for me, certainly it's a privilege and an honour. There's some pretty amazing businesses out there, even in the first and second year throughout the program. Yeah, it's just a big eye-opener to be involved. It's a pleasure to work under some high-calibre coaches and support them and support people throughout their FOA journey.
I love looping back to your BHAG. That big, hairy, audacious goal is that you guys want a freedom farm so that you can get out and get on farm and help 500 other farming families across Australia. You know, you being mentors and coaches with us, you know, what a cracking first step in making that BHAG possible.
Absolutely, and it's just our opportunity to give back. We're so grateful for what Farm Owners Academy has done for us. I'm adamant we wouldn't be farming without what we've learnt through Farm Owners Academy, and I'll sort of stick to that. And I think it's our chance to give a little back. The support we've had certainly over the last 7 years has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's been just massive for us.
I hope you don't mind me asking this, but the coaching team and the team of analysts, you know, Greg and Tracy and Robbo and Sam Johnson, and then the team of coaches and analysts and our support team. As a client to FOA and now sort of coming onto the team, what's your read and what's your kind of comment on the calibre of the people that are in the business?
I'd use the word eliteness. Some of the best analysts in the business, some of the best mindset coaches in the business. I guess what you get out of the program is people looking from the outside into your business, and most of us only have contact, I guess, with an accountant or a bank manager or perhaps a financial planner, but this is someone completely different, analysing the statistics and data of your business, and often it is life-changing. A lot of people come in dealing with succession, and there's a lot of people coming in as lost sheep, I guess, and there's guys there to support you and give direction.
Rhianne?
Yeah, I totally agree with what David's saying. Definitely elite. I look up to them so much. I look up to Greg, look up to Tracy, definitely. There's so many different skill sets within farm owners. You know, like you said, you've got your analysis team. I mean, Greg's mind is amazing. Then leading down to the coaches, you know, like everyone has their bit to contribute and everyone brings something different to the team, and I just think that's amazing.
I agree. I've never been part of a team like this. It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I cannot wait.
Welcome, Rhianne. It's awesome to have you. Game on. Now, one thing we haven't talked about, and you guys have created a freedom farm, and to do that, you've got to get structure, you've got to get systems, and then you've got to get team that you can rely on and depend on and trust in place. You guys have done that. Like, you've invested so heavily in setting down policies, procedures, job descriptions, org charts, all those things. How much work have you put into that, and how's that helped you achieve a freedom farm?
I guess employing, right? We've really been lucky in employing awesome staff over the last couple of years. We've gone from having part-time or casual staff etc., to 2 full-time labour units, and that's given us our next growth target by employing certainly the second person. I think we've still got some work to do on systems, and that'll underpin their roles and support. It's probably our turn to support them the way they've supported us, and that'll give them more empowerment, I guess.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that everything that we've needed to implement into our business, we've had access to within Farm Owners Academy. When it come to hiring, it was good that we could actually reach out to people that, had high turnover staff or, had, 27 plus staff to be able to say, how can we recruit, or recruit well? So recruiting was a big one. And then, incorporating our systems and getting our budget right and everything else that we had to do strategically within our business. We were lucky that we had a lot of people to support us in the areas that we needed.
Diesel, how's the future look for the farm?
I think exceptionally bright. I think we're in for a real good rise in commodities. I think we've got a lot of opportunities still to come our way. We can see them, we visualise them. So for us, it's exciting for more business and personal growth and set the farm up for one or all of our 3 children to come home and become farmers if they so desire. That'll certainly be their choice to make.
Is expansion a priority for you over your next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, over the next 5 or 10 years, we're looking at some more growth. We've had quite a bit of growth in the last couple of years, just with the scale up within our own land holding. And then we were fortunate enough to purchase a couple of blocks last year, and it's certainly in the sights in the next 5 to 10 years as greater expansion.
And Rhianne, what about for you? How does the future look for you and your family more broadly?
Well, I'm very excited because I'm joining a really cool team. But apart from that, I feel due to the support that we've had, it's enabled us to make better decisions for our business. Just going down the path of being able to hire au pairs to help with the children at home. So, I can get that time in the office. And I can just see down the track, like our kids are going to be so lucky to be able to have the opportunity to take on the family farm if they so desire. But if not, it's still a great investment for us to have down the track.
Thank you. What would you say to a family that have been considering Platinum Mastermind and getting started on an FOA journey?
I'd say jump on board. I think it's a complete one-stop shop. No, massive supporters, and it's I think everyone's at different stages of their career, their life, whatever, and it suits the whole multi-generational change through farming businesses, supportive of everyone's needs. Like we spoke on earlier, it's mindset, and I think mindset's the key for a start. A lot of people, especially in remote areas, it's easy to focus on the negatives instead of the positives. So it's a very supportive environment to be involved in.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't matter what stage you are in life, like David said, everything's applicable to you at that time. So whatever you take from it in your life at that stage, I feel like Platinum Mastermind is definitely a course that, can suit anybody.
What are you both most proud of about your journey over the last 7 or 10 years? Rhianne, can I start with you? What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Okay, so firstly, I'm definitely proud to have our children because that was a massive task. So I would be most proud of our growth and how we have backed ourselves in. We have been in the stage where, we had been worried where we didn't know where we were going to go next. But I think I'm proud that we've become a team, and I'm proud that we're aligned and completing the Platinum Mastermind and remaining members of the farm owners community. We are advocates for showing what is possible.
Thanks, Rhianne. What about for you, Diesel? What are you most proud of, mate?
Pretty simply, the clarity we have in our business and in ourselves. So the clarity around our numbers now, our forecasting, our vision, and where we're going to be, we're really confident in will be a success story. So from pretty hard times 7 years ago when we first joined to certainly I sleep very well at night. I don't have any issues there. It's just really happy as a team, where we are as a team and as a business.
You already are great examples of success, mate. There's no need to wait for that accolade. And I mean it when I say you're just such valued members of our community. You just bring so much value and so much positivity, and, you know, you support other members going through their journey with their own challenges and whatever just so strongly. So thank you both today for your openness. Thanks for sharing your backstory and your wins since we've had the chance to track with you, and congratulations. And we just can't wait to continue to have you both very much valued parts of our team and our community.
Thanks, Hutch.
Yeah, thank
Pleasure.
you so much.
Great stuff, guys. Take care and thank you, and bye for now. Like so many of the FOA community, it's always an absolute pleasure to connect with David and Rhianne Low. Thank you both. It is incredible what can be achieved when you do lean into benchmarking, knowing your numbers, getting aligned to a strategic plan, building out your systems, building out your structures, and being daring enough, as Diesel said, to be bold and building out team in the pursuit of creating a freedom farm. They're just such great examples of that. We're delighted to have Diesel tracking with us as a mentor to the Platinum Mastermind program, and Rhianne starting with us now as a business coach with us, supporting other families on the Platinum Mastermind journey. A reminder to you all that on Thursday, the 12th of September at 6:30 New South Wales time, Greg and I and our team will be hosting a Q&A exploring and explaining what the Platinum Mastermind program's about. I hope this interview has given you an insight. We'd love to see you there if our support to you can be of value, and if you're considering making a start with us on the Platinum Mastermind program. Take care, everyone. Thank you, and bye for now. Welcome to the Profitable Farmer podcast, where we share stories and tips to help you run a better farming business and create your very own freedom farm. If you're looking to work smarter and not harder in your farm business, welcome. You're in the right place.